this is like jumping back into where we left off last time. And if you recall the last time we left this lesson, you all had identified what you decided success for the New Deal would be. And so you are now going to get an opportunity to explore different documents. You know what, I'll just use that thing. Different documents throughout that kind of are representative of the New Deal. Some are going to be primary and some are going to be secondary. And you are going to evaluate was it successful or not based on the criteria we've outlined up here. And so I'm going to just preview a little bit of what you're looking at. We're going to do the same system we've kind of done before. This would be up on the board, taped. There are 8 different documents. On the front of each envelope, it tells you the type of document. So we have some charts, we have some texts, we have a map, and then it also tells you the category it falls in. So 3 of them are related specifically to economic factors. 2 are related to political factors. 3 are. And then 3, because one of them's kind of 2, are related to social factors. All right? You are to look at 6. You're going to look at 6. With your 6, I want to make sure that you pick 2 from each category. So you can do whichever ones you want. Just make sure you hit the political, social, and economic components of this. All right? So before you jump in, what are the things that we look at anytime we look at a document? What do we need to make sure we make note of?
Who produced it?
Yeah.
Date. Primary.
What do we call who produced it? What is the word we use for that?
Author.
Source?
The author, source, both. Yep, absolutely. What was the other thing you said, Janelle?
I said whether it's a primary or secondary.
Absolutely. Type of source, primary or secondary.
Date.
God bless everyone. Thanks, Sam.
What? God bless
The date.
the date.
Thought I'd
Yeah.
come up and say hi.
Anything else that's important to like?
Who's it being produced for?
Yeah, audience. Sure, the audience of it. And sometimes we can find the audience, but like the type of source indicates the audience. So sometimes that helps us kind of differentiate and figure out who the audience is going to be.
We usually look for purpose of the source.
Yeah.
So this was
The purpose. How do you find purpose?
Ask ourselves, why did this author produce this source for this audience?
And what do people oftentimes when they're producing something put pretty like basic stuff to help you figure out the purpose? What's one of the first things you're gonna look at?
Text features, title?
The title, exactly. The title. You're kind of answering that question. What's it about? What is this? What are we doing here? And so you're definitely gonna want to figure that out. All right, so these things help us just understand what the text is about. Excellent job. The other thing, though, is we're not just looking at these for any old reason, right? We're looking to answer our question of what is success in the New Deal. So what are the things that we're going to look for in the documents? What questions might we want to ask ourselves to help us determine success in the New Deal? What are we going to want to see? What are we going to see?
Those things on
right.
there.
Yeah,
I
whether or
need
not
to
they
see that.
address equal pay. Do they
Yeah.
address the target food?
Yeah, and so specifically, what in all of them, because some of the documents you're going to look at might not be specifically just about one of these. What are you looking for in each document to help you do that? If the New Deal is the cause, what are you looking for? Yeah. Do you like how I guided you to that?
Yeah, I was lost, but I got
Yes, that's all right.
We're slow.
So I'll just tell you, I originally was like, oh, I'm gonna give the kids the question, but I'm like, I think that they can figure this out. Okay? So we're gonna look for like the effects or the result.
Of the New Deal as a whole?
The That's a really good question. It could be the New Deal as a whole. It might not necessarily, depending on the document you're looking at.
Okay.
So essentially, we're going to look for what's changing. And I'm using this delta sign because delta is a quick way for me to write change. So what is changing? So as you look in each document, you want to see what is changing here. Let me get to the right page. What else might we want to think about that change with regard to what we're trying to do?
If it aligns to
Mm-hmm.
those things we have on that poster paper.
Yep. We're gonna want to, how
Is it?
does,
And wasn't equity like a
Yeah.
component of what we were talking about last time? So if like these things are equitable.
yep,
Can I ask for a quick reminder of?
absolutely.
We were given a question or two to look at the beginning of the.
We got
Evidence
those options. It was like if you were president, what would you do?
If you were okay.
And then we had those 5
Equity.
options. And then
What else are we looking
Yeah.
for evidence of? It wasn't just
if they were unequal in any way.
Okay.
evidence of equity, and there was another one that we were thinking about too before. Not just about equity. It also needed to be what? There was equity, but what did we also want to see happen and just in general?
Improved quality of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, I think just the
Yeah.
effectiveness. Like,
Oh.
is it actually leading to something
Is
different?
it working? Is that one of the questions that we is the New Deal working?
Yeah, like
Okay.
did it work? Did it do anything at all?
Okay.
So we have evidence of equity, and then I think the word we used at the beginning of the class was effectiveness. So we also want evidence of effectiveness. All right. So for each document, that's exactly what you're going to want to look for. We're going to want to identify the basics. What's the title? What's this about? Who's it for? What's the date? And then you want to identify what's the change that you're noting in it. Is there any evidence of equity? Is there any evidence of effectiveness? And these are going to be facts. You're going to be like writing down some of the stuff you see. You might be highlighting. They are laminated, so you can write on them with a white marker or a board marker if you want to, if it's helpful for you. But these are the questions you're going to ask. You can write this if you want to make a chart in your table or just do 1 page per document. Either is fine. You're going to want to be able to look at all of it at the end of class. I'm going to pause really fast. If you want to move, if you want to save time or move through, you might want to give them a graphic organizer or a table to adjust. That's what I always did, but I'm trying to err on the side of super constructive here. You can ask questions that help kids get to what am I looking for? It's research-based sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So evidence of equity, evidence of effectiveness. Let me see if there's anything. Is there anything else that you all are thinking might be missing if we look at these documents and don't pull out? Okay, that's fine. All right, so what you're gonna do is, we're actually all gonna start with one, you won't need paper for this. Sorry. We're all gonna start with one document together. You're gonna work on it independently, and then we're gonna come back.
Thought I had paper, but could I type?
You can type, yep, that's perfectly fine, whatever makes sense. Do you all want to start with the economic, political, or social document?
Social. Social. Oh, okay.
Social? All right. I'm gonna have you two share. Okay. All right, so go ahead and read, fill out your questions, and we're gonna come back together in 3 minutes. In my class, I might make it like
kids the reader. So they was like, no.
Peace Corpus.
Yeah.
Good form. Yeah. About the racial inequity that exists in.
When I'm finished, should I grab another source?
Not yet, we're gonna go through, but thanks for letting me know that you're done.
Library. I do Maggie usually I don't need to do this, but what I do with my students is soaps. So
Yeah.
like
We do that
subject,
too.
audience, purpose speaker. Okay.
Yeah, and I think depending on where your kids are at, how you want them to age, the limit to soap sometimes is, and then we're gonna see an example of this with this, some of the parts of soaps aren't as important
Right.
as the
Yeah.
thinking is when they get in, and so I felt like,
I think it's better for primary documents than secondary.
yeah, absolutely, yes, and I
Really need
think
the date, like O is occasion, so like we that's
Like,
kind of like.
that one I didn't even put the, yeah,
Right.
I didn't put the date, I didn't put the occasion, the date's the date I accessed it, and so you just kind of have to figure out like when do you want them to do it. I think it does serve the purpose of giving kids a pattern
Yeah.
to think
Sixth
about.
graders, I feel like
That's
that's
really.
like,
Yeah, and for middle school, I always recommend it for high school at that point because you want kids to be spending more time
yeah.
thinking about this. I might push them past
Yeah.
that.
No,
Yeah, it's definitely like the building blocks. I feel like no system, you can't like boil it down to 5 letters ever and be analyzing everything of a
Well,
source.
I've seen just so many different letter combinations.
Soaps and parts and
Yeah.
it's silly.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so what we're gonna do is, I think most of you are done. I'm actually gonna pass over the marker to Ms. Wright. Sorry.
No problem.
You wanna come up a different time? She's ready. And if you wanna write up there and then tell us what you're thinking as you write it, and if you need help with any of them, just let us know. We can do
Oh, you
that.
want me to write? Oh, I thought I was,
Yeah.
I thought I was a student.
You can do that, yeah. A little bit of both.
So the source, I just know it came from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. New Jersey State Library.
I was trying to change the color a little bit.
Also, you laminated it so that kids could use them.
When you laminate it, they take more care of it and they put it back.
I put
So,
them in those cheap pictures, like our
yeah, you could do that too. My librarian was really good about laminating stuff if I gave it to her a couple days in advance, so I always just laminated it. And then, found a kid when there was off like advisory or something and had them cut them up for me. But I just found that they kept them and I kept them more neat when they were laminated. One other thing I do is I would color. Would buy like a pack of that color paper and I would put that into also pocket.
doesn't get lost.
And another thing I would do with just structurally is I would tape a document up on the wall above it. Because just then being able to kind of survey the types of documents they have to look at is Mark said. Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. So, as far as the, whether it's a primary or secondary source, I don't see an author here.
Yeah, it's secondary, yeah.
source.
You-
No.
They,
There's no
Yeah,
date.
yeah.
Yeah.
title, there's no title, it's document 7.
It's document 7. So could we give this a title just to help us remember?
Yes. Yeah, we can.
What could we call it?
I would say, probably,
Maybe it's just like the
Great
topic.
Depression's, disproportionate effect, negative effects upon African Americans.
Sure, I think that's a
That's
great
what I'm
thing.
saying.
Yeah. Yeah, you could call it black suffering and and if you want to abbreviate this, since we're just wanting, the point of the purpose of the title is just for us to remember what's the big picture here. So, black suffering or racial inequity in the GD, Great Depression.
I always abbreviate it because there's some things that you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I do that with my students sometimes.
All right, excellent. All right, changes. And so I think as you look at other documents, if you want to paraphrase the title, I always find that helpful. So you guys did a good job on that. So I would do that again. Yeah.
The effects on the New Deal, well, greater unemployment for blacks.
Job displacement.
Yeah, the
It didn't,
AAA.
it didn't give that specifically, right, but it was definitely greater proportional unemployment. Is
Well,
that right?
If
I was
they
Yeah.
more-
moved
I
them
was
out of the
more-
jobs and replaced them with
So-
whites, so they would have been unemployed. But
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
how could we summarize that? Yeah, what is the big, what's the change? And I think sometimes the effect of the New Deal's hard. What change are we noticing was present?
Positive change for some and lack of change for others,
Yeah,
or even negative
Mm,
change in
negative,
some
'cause
cases.
Yes, because we're talking about directly how it relates
Yeah.
to our topic, and
Yeah.
that is black suffering.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So maybe, right, negative change
For blacks,
for
positive
blacks
change for
with
whites.
regard to what? Let's just be a little more